Hi, this is Dr. Darwin, the new dentist coach, with another edition of Ask Dr. Darwin on the New Dentist podcast show, where you ask questions about becoming a dental student, also questions about getting into dental school, about getting into residency, and then life after residency, and actually even life in other careers in dentistry. And that's today's segment of Careers in Dentistry. We're going to be talking a little bit about becoming a dental hygienist. We're sitting here with the best hygienist in the Midwest here.
About that.
Yes. No, I done read all the success stories about your program already. We're here with Miss Faith Miller, who is a program director. Well, I'm going to have her introduce herself, but for you guys that are watching this, make sure that you tune in weekly, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and also hit the notifications so that you don't miss any of these videos that we post on a weekly basis as well. We're going to be learning today about how to become a dental hygienist. We're going to talk about the pathway, what it requires. We're going to talk about a typical day, some salary ranges, what Faith likes best about the profession that she's been in for a while. We're going to talk a little bit about her program. She's a program director, and also how to contact her and other organizations related to dental hygiene. Right? That sound about right?
Good.
Okay.
Works for me.
That sounds about right. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey peeps. My name is Faith Miller, and like Dr. Darwin said, I am a registered dental hygienist. And came about that kind of a strange way, and we can talk a little bit about that a little bit later. But I graduated from Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, and I'm also now currently the program director. And that was, trust me, an interesting pathway to that as well. So we can talk about that as we roll along. I am a U.S. Army veteran. And
I was in the Air Force.
Air Force? Oh,
yeah.
Well, okay. Well, let's Chair Force, we call it. But you know what? You all really know how to travel, though, because we spent some time in Turkey, and the Air Force had it going on with the whole field hospital and the field dentistry. That's where you go to get the air conditioning. You all definitely know how to travel. You know,
well, I'm glad you didn't have no toothaches.
Figure this out. No, we didn't have any toothaches, but
y'all were coming to steal the AC.
Coming to steal the air conditioner. I was just in there hanging out, trying to figure out what was going on. But spent some time in the military. I did not do dentistry in the military, but that's actually where I had what I've called, and anybody that knows me knows this, my flux capacitor moment. Okay. That reference to Marty McFly from the Back to the Future movie. I had gone to, was in the military, and they give you a dental appointment, and it's pretty much you show up or you're AWOL. So the dental hygienist is cleaning my teeth, and all of a sudden she, shows me this humongous piece of calculus that she took off my teeth, and she put it in my hand, best education ever. And I was like, what is this? And it's calculus. Oh, okay. And then it was like, boom. So after I got out of the military, it's like, okay, how do I get into dentistry? What other pathways can I go? So I actually started looking into a local community college. Okay. John A. Logan College, which was not far from where I live. And they had a dental assistant program, and it was a relatively new program. So I finished that, and then my mentor there, Sue Bryan, who is a Facebook friend, so a little shout out to her. And she said, you need to go into dental hygiene. And so, of course, that was what I ultimately wanted to do. So with that confirmation, SIU had a dental hygiene program, so eventually applied there and got in, and bada bing, bada boom. Fast forward some years later, the current program director, and I never thought that would be where I would.
That happened to me too. Not thinking that pathway was going to happen, or that career opportunity, but it happened. So tell us a little bit about how someone can become a hygienist. Like, what are some of the first steps? Can people do it right out of high school? Do they have to, what are some of the typical ways that people enter into dental hygiene?
Some of the typical ways is really to start at a community college. Nowadays, while you're in high school, you can be working on some of your college credits, because if you started at a specific point, and this is not my pathway, but this is a suggested pathway, that if you know that the career that you are going into is loaded with science, loaded with math, and dental hygienists joke that, I don't do math. That's why I went into dental hygiene. So there's not a lot of math involved in it, but there is a lot of science. So they start taking these classes as they're juniors or seniors in high school, and some have done so well with it by the time they graduate from high school. They also have an associate's degree already.
Right.
So that is huge. So, we've had students as young as 19, 20 years old. That's really young. So that's almost right out of high school.
Yeah.
But they have completed a lot of the prerequisites for the dental hygiene program.
Okay.
And ours is existing as the only baccalaureate degree program in the state of Illinois.
Wow.
So we like to
So
hang
they get
our
a BA
hat on that.
in dental hygiene.
Bachelor of Science in Dental Hygiene.
Gotcha. Bachelor of Science.
Bachelor of Science, BSDH.
So there's some differences in some
There
programs.
is,
Some people can go the associate degree way, and then some go the BS way, or
the associate's degree right now is the entry level for dental hygiene.
Okay.
Now we want to try to raise the bar on that to make at least entry level be baccalaureate degree, but that takes legislation, that takes membership in professional associations to be able to drive that. And And would you make more money if you had, one degree above? Not necessarily.
Okay.
Because it's just basically, do you have a license to practice in the state in which you live?
You got to get a license.
You got to get a license first. And in order to get a license, you have to go to and graduate from an accredited dental hygiene program.
That's key. Accredited.
An accredited dental hygiene program. And then sometimes if the university is not accredited, that
means the program is not accredited.
That means the program is not accredited. When you're doing your research for institutions and trying to figure out where you're going to go to school, make sure that institution is accredited and that the program is accredited. Because I'm not sure where I heard this story, but there were some who graduated, I don't know if it was from a nursing program or what, but they found out that their whole career, was kind of just null and void because
it wasn't accredited.
Their institution
so
lost
there you
their
go.
accreditation.
You got to have the accreditation. Make sure the schools you're looking at or the programs you're looking at are accredited. What's a typical day like for a hygienist, a dental hygienist?
In practice?
In practice.
Clinical practice?
Clinical practice. What's a typical day like?
It could be pretty busy. It just depends on the type of practice because there are pediatric practices where they only see children, and that you just put skates on, and
because you're seeing
keep
how
it
many
moving
patients
because
a
you're
day?
seeing
10, 15 patients
or more. And then if you're working with a hygiene assistant or a dental assistant, that kind of keeps the flow going.
Assisted hygiene.
You could assisted hygiene, and you could see more patients because the little ones don't take as much time as say an adult patient that has a lot of just to kind of keep it in lay terms, has a lot of stuff on their teeth for a lot of medically complex situations or complications, then they won't take as long. But in that type of practice, it could be a heavy volume of patients. Also, in your general practice, anywhere from in a typical 8-hour day, you could probably see about 7 or 8 patients. And again, it just depends on if they're a new patient, that's going to be a longer appointment. If they're continuing care and they don't have any defined problems, then it usually takes about, anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. But you want to try to have at least an hour so you can get your assessment done.
And to talk to the patient.
And to talk to the patient. Find out what's going on. Develop a rapport. And that doesn't happen when you're constantly changing over the chairs and then running to the next patient because you're not thinking about that patient at that moment. You're already thinking about the patient's concerns for your next patient. And then you're so busy trying to rush them out the door that you just forget that. So an hour, please, an hour for the time to do your assessment, the things that you learn in dental hygiene school. A lot of a lot of people think that dental hygienists are nurses and they call them nurses, but we are not nurses. That's different skill set and different levels of education, because we do take and teach our students to take blood pressure, temperature, vital signs, and those are typically things that nurses do.
Right.
And so I could see, where that would come in. And then Australia, they're actually called, or New Zealand, Australia, actually called dental nurses. So the dental hygienist, if you want to relate us to that. And then too, we always fall back on the nursing model in terms of not expanded functions, but what's it, a mid-level provider.
Mid-level provider, right. So as far as providing care for patients, what if you're a hygienist, what's typically the salary range that somebody could expect if they want to go into
salary range geographically, depending upon where you are located? Like in the city of Chicago, where we are located.
Is it per hour, or is it?
It could be per hour. It could be on commission.
Okay.
And essentially, if your schedule is not booked, then you don't get paid, or you get paid an hourly rate that may or may not be comparable to that of a dental assistant.
So what would be like a range for hourly rate?
A good range could be in this area. I would say anywhere between 35 and upwards of 50
an hour.
And it really depends on your experience. It depends on how well you market yourself, the dentist that you work with, and I like to say work with, because you all are a team.
Right.
Even though that dentist or that entity is paying your salary, you guys are still a team.
Yeah,
so it's like I'm working with you. We're partners in
it's a team effort.
this the whole healthcare, and trying to get our patients to kind of buy into what we're saying. But it's about them. It's based on the assessments that we've taken and what the individualized care, comprehensive care that they need. So anywhere between 30, 37, 40-ish, upwards of 50 could be the range. I've worked for as much as 55 an hour.
Okay.
That was somewhat part-time when I did a little stint with Indian Health Service in Arizona.
Good. So what do you like best about the profession?
It's flexible.
It's flexible.
And it's dynamic. You meet a lot of people and from all walks of life. And, depending upon your upbringing, are you sensitive to the complexities that they bring with them? And are you willing to assist them? And so the rapport that you build with your patients and your clients, and then if you've been in the practice over years, they start requesting you.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'm not coming until this person is here. They get upset when she's not here. I've had patients follow me to different practices, and then you mentioned the current program director. I finally had to hang up my scaler, so to speak, for clinical practice, because it got to be a little bit too much, because I was still trying to do clinical practice and do an administrative role and a day-to-day of trying to be a program director, and it just got to be too much. I went in the office one day thinking that I was supposed to be working, and the assistants are like, looking at the schedule, Faith, are you supposed to be here? I'm not supposed to be here. I hurried up and went home because I had all of this stuff that I needed to get done. So I decided at that point I might need to not do clinical practice for a while, at least until perhaps I retire from my current position or whatever. But it was a lot, because the schedule on some days can be grueling, and maybe one day the equipment's not working right, or you get behind, and those are the things that I probably like least about clinical practice. But for the most part, it's your relationship with your patients. And I've know patients to this day that I see and still ask them about how their children are. And you're getting old when their kids start coming out. And then and also from a professional standpoint, like coming to meetings, meeting Dr. Darwin, and other individuals that you've not seen, and start sharing information about what's going on. And it's just like trading information, and then you have this group of people then you look forward to seeing at different meetings.
Yep. Yep. So you mentioned your current role as program director. Tell us a little bit about some of the highlights about your program at Southern Illinois University.
Okay, in Illinois, there's no noise.
I'm from Jersey.
There's no noise in Illinois.
Okay. No S.
No S. Somebody said Illinois. Okay, you're doing too much right now.
Right, they must be from New Orleans or something.
What's Illinois? Okay, that was a new one on me.
Southern Illinois.
So one of the highlights, as I mentioned before, we're the only baccalaureate degree program in the state. And we do have quite a few dental hygiene programs in Illinois, but we offer the bachelor's degree. And like I said, that needs to be entry level. And we are situated in a rural area for the most part. And I like to say it's kind of somewhat mixed because there is somewhat of an urban feel to it, because there are a lot of Chicago transplants in Carbondale. And we also have a diverse community. You wouldn't think it would be, like Carbondale. What the heck is Carbondale? Right. Well, we sit about an hour or 2 hours from Metro St. Louis. And so we have the ability, to just go and travel to St. Louis, if we want to, see big city life. We're about 5.5 hours from Chicago, 3 hours from Memphis, 3 hours from Nashville. So we get some urbanicity, good mix. And when I say the community is diverse, because we have a lot of international students, and then they end up staying. And so we have a lot of cultural activities that are in the area. Right. So that is a plus. A lot of people are attracted to the nature. There's a lot of parks there. There's fishing. There's hunting, and so they're attracted by the terrain and the plush. It's so green here, and it's very humid there. So if you're from one of the western states where it's a little bit more desert environment, the humidity is something else. And we're also called Hay Fever Alley, so that's another thing. If you got some allergy issues, probably it's not the place for you. But for the most part, it's a connected community, an intimate community, and it just depends on how involved you want to be. And because there are some that are here as students and they leave with a lot of significant connections, versus, people that have lived there all their lives. And it's like, well, I didn't even know that this existed. Wait, what? Wow. So it just depends on how involved you want to be. Okay. We have a lot of registered student organizations that are connected to the community. And
there's a dental school there too, right?
Well, the dental school is in Alton. So that's about an hour and a half away. Okay, so they're closer to Metro St. Louis. Right, we're a standalone dental hygiene program. Okay. And we're in the School of Allied Health, which will now be the School of Health Services, and the College of Applied Sciences and Arts. Okay. And we have other healthcare programs. And while the university in itself has its challenges with enrollment, we and our programs are doing okay. I get emails constantly about how do I get into your program.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what are some of the prerequisites typically, like for your program and as they relate to other programs? What are some of the prerequisites?
They're all online. All of our information is online. We've got nothing to hide. It's like, honestly, the more we can give you online, because that's where our consumers are shopping. Yeah, I mean, they're shopping for everything online.
What's the online address?
That's a lot going on. But you can just Google SIU Dental Hygiene Program.
Okay, there we go.
And we're
going to check out the link at the bottom here in the description, and we'll have a link. And also, we want to have an opportunity for people to get in contact with you if they have they have questions.
When you go on the website, It'll have a lot of, buttons to click, welcome packet, curriculum sequence, pictures of our faculty, so you know what they look like.
Too. Yeah.
We do, and speaking of students, we have an alumni achievement section, so you can see what our graduates have been up to. We have students that have gone on to dental school. We did have one of our male students that worked for Hugh Freedy for a while, and he's moved on. And then we have students. I've got one student. This is so cool. And this has nothing to do with anything, but I just think just different activities or extracurricular things that they do and that are involved in, but it still gives them, kind of a background where they can share their profession with others in whatever environment that is. I've got one that does river dancing, the Scottish or Irish dancing. I'm like, wait.
Well, really? That's good though, because that still allows them, as even in their careers, to connect with people, to build relationships.
Yeah. She started
in the chair,
that.
outside of the chair.
Yeah, she started that when she was in hygiene school, and she was always an adventurous student. We were in DC one year for RDH Under One Roof, and she was there, and then she had rented a bicycle and was just riding around on a bicycle in DC. I said, okay. And she eventually moved to New York, and she's in this group that does Irish dancing.
Yeah, see, you can have fun as a hygienist.
You can have fun.
You can have fun as a hygienist.
You really can.
Even through school, more so when you get finished with school. We don't want you river dancing while you're in school. All right, but we want you to
concentrate on your education.
That's right. But we want you to have fun as a hygienist.
Right.
Well, thank you so much. It's been very informative. Hopefully, you guys have learned some more about this career in dentistry and hygiene. And be sure, like I said, we have a link below. You can find out more. This also should be a link for, there's another link for, in there, like a National Dental Hygiene.
There's National Dental Hygienist Association, and they were established when there was no space or avenue for professionals of color to interact and network.
So that's one resource.
So they're part of the National Dental Association. So they all have their meetings together. So the National Dental Assistants Association, Dental Association, and we also have had, now you have to be a member of the National Dental Hygienist Association, but we've had some of our students get scholarships.
Yeah, they have scholarships. So
if you're looking for scholarships.
See, this is the person you got to get in contact with. She has all the information. And so be sure to go on that website and about her program, that'll be the way that you can get in contact with her. We also have her email address down below. Faith, thanks so much for your time, for your information. She's an AKA too. And my mom's an AKA, so it's all good. It's all good. P&G thing.
P&G thing.
Purple and green. I mean purple and green. Love. Purple and gold, pink and green. That's how you know it's been a long day. But hopefully you guys.
It's the St. Patrick's thing.
It's the St. Patrick's. We're still in Chicago right now, so we still got
still wearing green.
I got green on today. Got green on. It's just overflow. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed this information. If you have questions, be sure to shoot me an email at newdentistcoach@gmail.com. newdentistcoach@gmail.com. Also, question of the day: what did you like best about finding out about the information that you found out? What part is probably going to be most helpful for you? Make sure you make a comment. Put a comment down below in the video, and let us know what part that you like the best. And Faith, again, thanks so much.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Appreciate it. And you guys make sure you check out this next video that's coming right here. Check out this next video, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks again. Thanks, Faith.
All right.